My name is Chris, and welcome to my cellar. What am I looking at, you're asking yourself? Well, I've spent quite a lot of time recently talking about, or thinking about, and you'll soon see it on the blog if you haven't already, ageability of wines, and about how to curate your cellar to get it right so that it's constantly capable of being harvested. And in many ways, I haven't really got that right. But today, we're going to set those troubles aside and we're going to try something completely from the other end of the scale. I've got two wines from 2019. Here, the Wackelwerk, which is an Austrian Gruner Veltliner, bought from the Wine Society earlier this year. And here, one that's already been made famous on the blog, the Albarino 2019 Wine Society Exhibition Range. Now, why have I gone for these two? Well, as I said, worrying so much about whether wines are ready to drink, have they reached that sort of 5-6 year window for whites? Have they reached 10-15 years for reds? We're going to just set all that aside today. We've got two wines here, fresh off the vines really, 2019. Very young. Now the Gruner Veltliner is capable of aging a long time. And you may have heard me talk about it in other blogs, the fact that some of these types of wines, these white wines, can go into a period of hibernation. So they're very drinkable in the first couple of years, and then you want to really lay them down for the next 4 or 5 because they'll disappoint, and then they wake up to this glorious midlife from years 6 and 7. So I'm hoping to catch the Gruner Veltliner before it goes to sleep, and I've got it on good authority from my father, who's tried one of these this year, that is drinking absolutely perfectly. Why am I pairing it with Albarino? Well, I just think these are two wines that I love, and they share common characteristics. That greenness, green fruits, that salinity, the mineral, and very much acidity in the mouth. I don't love the big white full-bodied wines, and that's something I need to work on separately, but these are the opposite of those. Very crisp, very fresh, beautiful fruit expression, and although they are completely different wines from completely different countries, I'm expecting, or I want to test, whether those similar characteristics will lead to similar wines, even though they're completely different grapes, or whether they'll keep the characteristics but remain very distinct. So now I'm going to take it up to the tasting room and we'll see if we can put them to the test. Hi, and welcome to the tasting room. So I've brought up the Albarino, I've brought up the Gruner Veltliner. We've had them in the fridge for a few hours to cool them down, and here they are. Now, I'm not seeing much at all of a difference between the two. Albarino's on the right here, Gruner Veltliner on the left. That's a little bit more golden, and it's actually slightly cloudy, whereas that is just crystalline, crystal clear, almost a little bit of a green tinge on it. I've literally just opened the bottle, so I'm none the wiser, no wiser than you. Let's try the Albarino, which I'm not going to dwell on because you can look at the previous Albarino vlog. But again, it's just mineral, it's stony, flinty, fruity, it's just jumping out of the glass at you. Lovely. I'm going to go straight through to a taste here. It's early April, but it's a lovely spring day outside, and this is just, you couldn't imagine having anything better on a lovely warm day. It's absolutely cracking. £15. I was raving about it last time, and I can only encourage you to snap it up from the Wine Society if you're a member, because it's just value for money and such a lovely white wine. Now let's go to the Gruner Veltliner and see. I'm going to spend a little bit more time on the Gruner Veltliner because we haven't had it on the channel before. This is one of my sort of wine bibles, the World Atlas of Wine, 8th edition by Hugh Johnson and Jancis Robinson, two famous wine critics, and they've got sections on every country, fantastic maps. And so I've been having a look at Austria, and one quote, if you'll indulge me, I just loved the English used. This is describing the grape, very Austrian classic grape, Gruner Veltliner. 30% of all the vines in Austria are Gruner Veltliner. A lot of Riesling as well, increasingly in fact, some red and then some other local varieties. But that's quite a big proportion of the grapes for the country being GV. And here it is. Grüner Veltliner, or Grö Ve, can be thirst-quenchingly fresh and fruity, with plenty of acidity and flavour that reverberates on a wavelength somewhere between grapefruit and dill. So let's see if we get either grapefruit or dill. I'm thinking Big Macs now, on the Grüner Veltliner. It's quite different on the nose to the Albarino. And remember that the reason for the tasting is these should be your classic expression dry acidic wines. And we're seeing whether they are the same or indeed very different. How wide is that band of wines? It's not actually giving much on the nose. It's actually quite grassy and faint. Yeah, some mineral, and actually when you sort of get deeper, you get a little bit of, dare I say, grapefruit, but that sort of citrus type of fruit. Wow. Wow. Again, I haven't cleansed my palate. Apologies for that. Very interesting. This is fruit forward. It's just a sort of a taste explosion, puts a smile on your face. That is different. It's much more like, you know, a shallow stream with pebble or chalk bottom. It's just that kind of gravel, that kind of limey chalk. It's got that sort of feeling. It tastes like the water that would be rushing over that bed. It's definitely got more body. It's definitely greener. I think even a bit more acidic. Remarkably different, in fact. It's almost like this uses the front of your mouth. It's just eager to please, and it's immediately apparent its virtues. This is much more the back of your mouth. Less on the taste, less sweetness, and the acidity comes through at the back of your mouth, and then the rounded body is more kind of the back of the mouth filling forward. So really, I suppose I would describe these wines as both excellent. I mean, that's absolutely tremendous, having never tried that before, and I look forward to that. But it's great because these are, you know, acidic, dry, light wines from Austria and Portugal respectively, and yet they are completely different. So the similar traits in these two wines give way to different tastes and completely different mouth feels. I know that this one probably is built to be drunk fairly young, whereas this one can last. It may go to sleep, as I was saying, in the cellar, and so this one's 2 years old. I've got another couple of bottles. I'm going to tuck those away, pick them up in the mid-2020s. But I have to say, both of these wines impress me greatly. They demand a barbecue or a sunny day and a group of people, so you can stand there with your glass and have a good chat, particularly the Albarino. I'm not going to pick my favourite because they are thankfully very distinct within the one category, and I look forward to drinking many more of each throughout this summer. As I said, I'll keep these, but I do have some other Grüner Veltliners from different producers in Austria. And remember here, when we think about this wine, it's Wachau, which is sort of 40 kilometers-ish west of Vienna. So you're talking about the far east of Austria, the Danube Valley, the river Danube flowing through it. One final point on this wine, just to show its provenance. I don't know whether you can see this label here, but I was delighted to see that label on this bottle of wine, because if we go to the Wachau page, here it is, and leave you with a final quote. Members of the Vinia Wachau Private Growers Association have signed up to the Codex Wachau, whereby they agree not to buy in grapes and only to make the purest, most expressive wines possible. And I think that's a great summation of both of these wines. They taste very pure, they're hugely expressive, and they're very much indigenous to where each of them's from. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this step into the white wine, dry wine, acidic wine world, and like it if you did, subscribe if you haven't, and I look forward to seeing you in the cellar, the tasting room, maybe outside again very soon.